this video, we're going to be talking about the setup and configuration of financials associated with contracts within the Klevr Contracts application. As you can see here, I've opened the Change Management for Dispute Resolution System Uplift contract, and I'm going to navigate to the Financials tab. On the Financials tab for this contract, I can get a quick snapshot of the financial configuration for this contract record. I can see the contract amount, a calculated annual amount field, which will be calculated based off of the lifetime of this contract, and then I can see a total unallocated amount. This value will also calculate based off of the amounts for each contract budget associated with the contract. In this middle section, we can see a list of all of the contract budgets associated with my contract record. In this instance, we can see that we just have the one contract budget, which is utilizing the full contract amount. Hence, the total unallocated amount is 0 because the entire contract budget has been allocated within one or more contract budget allocations. If I want to look at the setup for this particular contract budget allocation record, I can select it and it will take me to the contract budget details form, where I can start to either look at or enter details for this contract budget. On the left, we have some general information like a code, a name, a total amount, and then our transaction system type. This allows me to set this contract budget up as a payable budget or a receivable budget, and it is possible to have both payable and receivable budgets associated with one contract record. I can then enter things like a description. I can have an external reference, whether or not this record will be integrated with other systems or needs to be searchable based off of the ID from other systems, and then I can enter some tags with this contract budget to make searching and reporting very easy within the system. On the right side, I can see the contract that's associated with my contract budget. I can see the account, which will typically default to the same account that is on the contract record, but that can be set up as a different account if desired. And then we have our budget type. Here you can see that I have a scheduled payment set up as the budget type, but you might have things like an ad hoc or some custom budget types within your system. Lastly, the integration document type is a drop-down that I can select what document type this contract budget should be sent as or made into when integrated to an ERP or finance system. Now, importantly, as I've set this contract budget as a budget type of scheduled payments, I'm going to receive a scheduling section at the bottom. And here I can set up my scheduling information for my contract budget. So I can set up a start and end date, and there is validation to ensure that these times are legit and fall within the contract setup. And also the start date is before the end date. I can also set up my schedule recurrence, whether this will be weekly or monthly. I can set up a scheduled day, which will tell me the day that this will be charged through the week if the scheduled recurrence is weekly, or it will allow me to select the day for the month. I can then select my schedule interval. So here we can see that this is going to be paid on the first day of the week, and that will happen every 2 weeks. And then if I want to specify the first scheduled amount, there's an optional field here where you can put in the first scheduled amount, and that is the amount that will appear on the first transaction record that is created. If I want to see all of the different transactions that have been created for this contract budget, I can select the Transactions tab, and we can see all of the transactions that have been created so far. As this is a scheduled payment, I can now select the Generate Scheduled Transaction record here, and it will show me it will generate all of the transaction records based off of the scheduled or the amount on the contract budget and the schedule that I set up on the scheduled recurrence information section. As you can see, all of our transaction records have immediately been created for us, including the date that they should be paid and the amount based off of the amount that was on the contract budget. And it will also factor in the amount if I had have selected the first payable for contract transaction record as well. Now that these have been created for us, I can navigate back to our transaction record, or contract record, apologies, and I will start to see all of the transactions. Currently, all of these transactions are set up with our one contract budget, But if I had multiple contract budgets, I could track all contract transactions associated with my contract budget as well. The last thing we'll do, if you do want to tie a contract transaction payment to a particular milestone, then by navigating to the contract transaction record, I can see that I have a milestone, and here I could add an existing milestone, and that will link the milestone to the contract transaction record, which will allow me to ensure that a milestone's objectives have been completed and potentially approved before the funds associated with the contract transaction are released to the recipient. That is all for today on the financial setup for contracts within the Klevr Contracts application. Thank you very much.